picture. Thank you so much, Michelle. And we do want to acknowledge one more person in the audience before we bring up Dr. Adams. Christopher Alston, one of the witnesses, one of our dear friends. His widow is here, and we want to give a nice round of applause to Marty Alston, who is also a great activist and has carried on in Christopher's name also. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most eloquent, beautiful witnesses in Detroit of the great Paul Robeson is another great man who is still here with this church and is still as youthful and literate as back then and so beautifully verbal. We'd like to have him give you some poetry. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Reverend Charles Adams.
Certainly I'm not deserving of these rather hyperbolic exaggerations of reality, but it sounds good. And so I'll go to sleep tonight smiling from cheek to cheek and then face tomorrow's challenges. But what a beautiful, as Dr. Sampson, my good friend, would often say, we've had a delicious afternoon. And we thank you very much for it, and I hope that our Hartford team will come together and bring the show back. Bring it back and let it be a fundraiser for your continued work and your continued spreading of this good news. One thing I wanted to leave you with an anecdote that affected my life greatly when I was at the University of Michigan and able to come to church because it wasn't that far from Ann Arbor, where I was in school in my senior year, senior semester. And I developed, because I had some issues with the University of Michigan, and I got quite a group of white people. So glad to see Brother in the audience. So what I'm trying to say is we had, and we met regularly, and they were all very much literate and rehearsed in history and destiny. And we met every Monday night, and I said, hey guys, would you like to come to my church and hear Paul Robeson speak and sing? They said, of course we'll do so. Well, I didn't know how to drive. I had nothing to drive. But they had cars, and they made their cars available. And I can't tell you how many left with me in their individual cars, packed with white students who wanted to make common cause with black people and their struggle for justice, even on the campus of the University of Michigan, where you could not get a room or a rooming house on Hill Street and State Street. Just wasn't done. If you were black, you would call in advance. So, do you have anything for University of Michigan students? I said, of course. But then when I got there, every house was sold, or every room was rented before I could make it there, even on a jet plane. And so I had all these people there, and you know, when you're young, you're very excited about what your ideas are. And you wanted to talk about your issues all the time. And I wanted to say something about these people who didn't provide for black people. And when they went abroad, they did not call up our problems and our issues. But they would only praise the United States, which I loved it. But I don't love anything that I can't criticize if I think is wrong. Right. And I don't love anybody enough to twist the truth, because in those days I've learned more sense. But I told Paul Robeson, I said, Mr. Robeson, I noticed that there's some of our artists, I claim that, who will capitulate and cover over our problems and our failures. And I pointed a few names. And I said, what do you think about those people? They're not doing it your way. He says, they don't have to do it my way. It's not for them to do what I do. If that's the way we feel, that's the way we will express ourselves. And if they feel differently, they have their own reasons and their own rights. So never go around criticizing those whom you disagree with. Just make your speech and sit your down. And so it was something that you need to learn, you know, in those days when you want to cancel out the other voice. And it was Paul Robeson who taught me, appreciate the opinions of others and hold on to yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reverend Charles Adams. And just like Paul Robeson had Paul Robeson Jr., you know that? That was a great guy too, Paul Robeson Jr. wrote books. Look at this, we carry on the tradition. And here I'd like to ask the son, Reverend Christian Adams, to please say a couple words, because he's the one who okayed us doing this here. He wanted to hear about his dad too.
I'll just speak briefly because we've had a wonderful evening. I don't think I can add anything to it. I feel like Mother Pollard did when she said during the Civil Rights Movement, my feet are tired, but my soul is rested. My body is a little weary, and my backside is hurting a little sitting on these plastic chairs. But I don't think I remember having a greater evening in a long time. This has been a wonderful occasion, and I appreciate each and every one of you who have stayed all the way to the end, but indeed everybody who have come out tonight. You have made it special by your presence, and how we were in touch with not only the soul of those who participated in this video and produced this video and the subject of the video, but of the movement of God throughout history. I was deeply moved at times by this production. Tears were welling up. But before I could cry, I started laughing at different moments of humor, and I was just greatly blessed by tonight and each and every one of you. Thank you again, Brother Meyer, for being here. He's been giving everybody else a lot of his attention, but thank God for him to accompany that great soloist and produce this great video for his continued work. And I stand with my father. Let us support this work that must go on. And I'm going to buy one of those DVDs. I don't know about everybody else.
No, we're giving you one. Don't worry about it.
No.
We're going to give you one. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much. And we will have more videos. I'm sorry I didn't bring enough. But if you do want more, you can either come August 7th. We'll have plenty more at the African American Museum event. Or you can go online. How else can you get it? You talk to me after. If you want one, talk to me after.